So when do you get that opportunity where you can try different stuff? And a lot of people, like I said, everybody got better. People got to their goal weights. People were people were weight loss. People were gaining muscle. People were happy. That's why they kept coming. Like, if you're not paying and you're volunteering to come to stuff and keep coming, something's going well, right?
Yeah. All right, Net Builders, thanks for joining us again. We got Josh here, and very, very, very happy to have him on the show. He came highly recommended from a brother that I trust very much. So I really honestly cannot wait for the value that he's going to provide for not only me, but you guys as the audience as well. So I'll leave the floor to you and go ahead and give us an introduction.
All right, so my name is Josh Gray. I'm the owner of Gray's Academy, LLC. It's personal training, strength and conditioning, and also consulting. My background, I was a college athlete. I played football in college. I graduated with a kinesiology or exercise science degree. I worked for 4 years at University of Puget Sound as a strength coach, training, about 13 to 14 teams there. I've also coached track for 9 years, football for 3, and baseball for 2. So now I'm currently a strength and conditioning coach for the Army, and I run my personal training business.
Wow. Wow. And the first thing I just hit right there, I had a million questions, but then you said for the Army, that's near and dear to my heart. I did 10 years in the infantry. So I wish we had, I wish we had a strength and conditioning coach who was there. So how does that work? Are you able to just contract through it?
We're contracted. So they started H2F. That's what it's called. It's holistic fitness. So we have strength coaches, we have ATs or athletic trainers, physical therapists, and also sports psychologists and nutritionists. And I think they started this program 2 to 3 years ago, really piloting the program now because the Army had too many injuries. So they were getting a lot of people injured. They were losing a lot of money due to, the therapy and everything else. So they hired strength and conditioning coaches, and now we just take over the PT. So the morning PT, for the most part, is ran by the strength and conditioning coaches. So they don't do the push-ups and miles anymore. We do weights, kettlebells, medicine ball stuff, sprint, jump. They're trying to completely change it.
Okay, outstanding. Now that actually makes sense because, when we were, I remember doing PT and it was pretty much based off what the squad leader wanted to do that day. And personally, I had a squad leader that just loved running. So that's what we did every day because that was his strength. So, but I'm sure from your personal opinion, you're like, you can't work legs like that every single day. Cardio is great, but you got to give those legs a rest.
Exactly. That's what's leading to the injuries, all the miles they're putting on that concrete because you're seeing lower back, ankle, a lot of knee injuries, probably from just too much running. So, and we're still getting pushback because, you have the traditional Army soldiers who want to do stuff the way it's always been done. So, it's a slow process.
Hey,
where were you stationed?
I was stationed here in Lewis. I was stationed in Fort Lewis. I was also in Fort Hood as well.
Okay, Fort Hood, yep. You're part of the infantry, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I work in the medical grade, the 62nd.
Nice. No, I think this is a great program. Like I think it's definitely, I'm usually talking about the entrepreneur aspect of life, but I think this is the first time I've actually touched bases on the military as well, because I usually just don't go there. But the fact that you guys are doing that it actually does tie into I'm gonna move it to an entrepreneurial conversation. Because of the fact that you said you get a lot of pushback from old Army guys, which I can imagine if I was still in the Army, I'd still probably have that mindset as, hey, this has always worked, why should we change it? But the truth of the matter
is, it really work though? That's the thing.
It hasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't. It's just what they've been doing. That's all they know.
And they thought, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But the results show that it is broke.
You know what's funny? They gave us a statistic because I just started working September 20th.
Mhm.
So I'm probably like 4 months in right now. But they told us last year the Army just nationwide saved $1 billion because of this program,
Wow.
because of reduced injuries. So it's like, yeah, your soldiers are now healthy, but also you're saving money.
And that's what
Crazy.
matters.
Yeah.
That bottom
In
line.
America, that's all that matters.
Yes. Yes. Oh man, that's yeah, that's amazing. But back to entrepreneurs have the same issue. They have the
I
same
mean,
issue. Um,
what do you mean?
they go with the whole thing. I was just listening to one of my favorite mentors, Gary Vee. I'm sure
Okay.
that you, yeah. And I was just listening to one of his keynotes, speaking on,
Mhm.
uh, the OGs of the business world still believe direct mail, door knocking and stuff like that. But that's not where the eyes are. The eyes are on cell phones.
Yeah.
If you're not present on cell phones, then you're not present anywhere.
Hmm.
So I think that that mind shift is it's really there in this world. Like in anything that anyone does, if they believe that the old way worked before, they're not willing to change with the times. So it's great that you guys are doing that program, but then also at the same time for entrepreneurs, if you can't adjust and make that mind shift change, then you are going to be stuck or you're going to fade away.
Yeah, kind of like Blockbuster and Netflix.
Oh, and that's you couldn't have named a better example right there. You couldn't have named a better example. Oh gosh. You won't see a Blockbuster anywhere. West Coast Video, all of them.
No,
Suncoast
nothing.
Video.
Yeah, it's crazy. All the streaming Netflix, and then opened up to all the Hulus and different streaming sites now.
Yeah.
And that's the same. It's like you always, when you're trying to make change, you're trying to innovate, you always run into that. There's always going to be people that just don't want to adapt, and unfortunately, they're going to get left behind.
Yeah, this world's constantly changing. As fast as a new iPhone comes out, as fast as a new app comes out, and we all know
Exactly.
iPhones come out every year.
Every year, yeah.
So with you have an extensive background in physical condition and healthy well-being. So was this something that you always wanted to do, or what made
All
you
right,
think,
so
okay, let's do this?
that's a good question because well, I went to college for football because I played football in college, and that's the primary reason I went in there. I didn't go for academics. I went so I could play football, and I was an engineering major because I did a bunch of architecture classes or drafting classes in high school. So I went in engineering, but math, you got to take a lot of math, algebra, calculus, pre-calculus, and I was failing classes. So I talked to my mom, and she was like, "You need to do something that you want, that you like doing." And since that was sports, I looked at all the sports degrees at the college, and I was like, "Okay, training. I'm always interested in training. I was always trying to figure out how I can get bigger, stronger, faster. So I just looked that up, and that's how I just chose my major. So it wasn't planned. I mean, I guess you could say it was because I was always training. I think through high school I trained. So I don't know, but it wasn't planned. No, I just fell upon it, and it's like, this is something I'm passionate about. If I'm gonna get a degree, might as well be in something I'm interested in because I didn't like school. That's for sure.
And you're doing something that is so rare in America, probably rare in the world. You're doing something, you use the word said something, you use the term, phrase, sorry, passionate about.
Yeah.
You're actually
Yep.
doing something that you love doing every day.
Mhm.
Like, how great is that, man? Like,
It's
seriously.
great. It's great. It's great, especially I mean in the military because I mean I worked at the college for 4 years, right? And the reason I stopped was because it wasn't paying nothing.
Mm.
So I'm working what 60 hours a week, maybe getting paid for 20.
Hmm.
It was fortunate because I got to run a bunch of teams. Whereas if I was at a bigger school, I would have got paid probably the same, but there would be somebody over me. So it'd be an internship, or it would have been free. It'd have been an intern. So I just credited it as intern. So I'm not getting paid much, but I'm getting intern hours. I'm learning about different sports like lacrosse and crew. I never even heard I never seen a lacrosse game till I started working at a college. I'm starting to work with crew, which is like rowing. It's like I've never seen, we're not exposed to this kind of stuff. So I mean it helped. Like the pay wasn't great, but the experience was.
Well, I'm enjoying this conversation with you because you're saying like a lot of things that a lot of people don't realize. And we haven't even gotten to really talking about your business yet, but your journey to get into your business is like you're dropping so many jewels right here. And I'm going to rewind a little bit because some people listening probably didn't just catch what you're saying. You were willing to take less pay at the time to build up your experience and learn about all these other different sports. And before you even went into opening the business, I mean, I'm sure that you knew at the time that you weren't paid for your complete value, but you were
Felt it
willing.
too. I felt it too.
But you went through it. You went up that ladder in order to have all of that under your belt. So then when you opened your business, hey, what credibility do you have? Bam, there you go, right here.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't willing to do that. They want to start at the top. They're not willing to build up.
That's true. I mean, and to see, you're right. That's true. But in my field, strength and conditioning, it's just like, I don't know. They always start you at the bottom and they just want grinders and grinders and grinders. So people move all across the country. People like one person on our job, he was a Seattle Mariners strength and conditioning coach. He said in the last 6 years, he's lived in 5 different places. I was like, I'm not trying to do that. It's like I'll sacrifice here, but I'm not trying to just be shipped all across the country just for somebody to actually realize my worth. It's like I'll stay here, take the less pay, get an apartment where I can afford, just put in the work, and eventually it'll pay off.
Gotcha.
And like you said, most people don't want to do that. You want to, and I mean, honestly, I was shook too because you think we were told growing up. I don't know if you were. I'll say so. I was told growing up, you go to college, you get a degree, you come out, you get a good job, right?
Yep.
And that's just not what it was. When I came out of college, I worked at the airport, I worked at warehouses, I worked at a bus. I worked at like I'll probably say 6 or 7 jobs within 2 years, just trying to find my way. So I didn't just come out of college and just get into my career where some people do. I didn't do that. So it was just, that was a gut check.
No, but you pushed through it. And yes, that is the traditional way. And I mean, you got a couple of things in between, go to college and go into debt so much that you land a job and you can spend the rest of your life paying that debt off and maybe see Social Security or a pension watch at 65.
Exactly.
No, but
so that's what it was.
You pushed through it though. You pushed through it. And I think that's a great story on its own. What made you say, you know what? It's time to open up Gray's Academy. Like what was that moment that thing, that light switch that went on?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. So I worked, I mean, like I said, what you said threat, you mentioned threat. So he has YBM, which was a nonprofit. I think we met in 2013. He asked me to be the strength. This is when I started working at UPS, and I was working at I was also working at Lincoln. I was a track coach, football coach, and helped with the strength and conditioning there. Started working with him. He was really, we had this CrossFit gym let us use the gym, I think 3 days a week for free. Like I couldn't charge anybody, obviously. So everything was free. So whoever wanted to come came. That became my experiment. That's like my lab. So I got to experiment with a lot of different things, eating what worked, what didn't work, what people liked, what didn't. And it was all age range. We had people from 6th grade all the way up to 40 years old. So I saw what worked on a large range or a large scale, I should say. And I always wanted to have a business. My dad has a business. He has a tax business. So I guess it might be genetic, but I always wanted to have a training. Since I came out, I wanted to have a training business where I primarily trained athletes. Like right now I have a mix. I got athletes and general population, which is cool. But when it clicked, I don't know. Like why it clicked, I started in 2017. That's when I first opened up. I opened up out of a storage unit. So it was cheap, cheap rent. Started off with minimal equipment and started building, but it started in the storage unit. I don't know when the light bulb clicked. I don't know if there was like one moment when it clicked. It was just like, I know I'm not getting paid enough. And the only way to really control your salary is to charge people and to set your price. So it's like I have this set line, and I'm still building. I'm not saying I made it, but I'm still building. But maybe that was it. I don't know if I have if there was a light bulb moment. It was just like, man, stop procrastination and just do it. There's never a right time.
So you have a pretty unique mindset. A lot of the things that you say always makes me stop my thought. Like while you're talking, I'll have a thought
Mhm.
while I'm listening, but then it'll stop and I'm like, no, I gotta go back and ask this question now.
Yeah.
The way that you think, me and you, I don't know if you listen to how many of my videos how many of my videos you've listened to,
Mm.
but I can't help but think that me and you we read the same books or maybe consume the same material. Does that make sense?
Probably. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's so I have to ask, like, what do you read?
Oh, so I read a variety of stuff. So, like, obviously, I have my strength and conditioning stuff that I read, my fitness, nutrition books. But outside of that, I guess let me see, just to give some background, 2013, 14 is when I started getting into self development. So, I started listening to podcasts. That's where I started. Okay, I started reading books about, I guess, self confidence, business, marketing, all these different things. So now, one of my favorite authors is Robert Greene. He wrote The 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
He wrote Mastery. He got a 50th Law. He has a few books, and probably one of my favorite books. But I have this my favorite authors. I have this website called Blinkist, where it allows you to kind of like Cliff Notes. Back in the day, Cliff Notes or
Uh-huh.
Spark Notes, but it summarizes books. So I'll just go on there and it has a bunch of different categories. So I just read all different. I read philosophy, I read history, I read education. I was a teacher for 4 years. So I don't know. I can add that in there. I taught emergency sub. I was just a teacher for 4 years. So I read a bunch of different things. I read history. I read about like I said, all the things that come with self-development. I read psychology because I was teaching and I'm also training. And part of behavior change is psychology, obviously. So, I study a lot of psychology. That'll be my main ones. Usually psychology, education books, my strength and conditioning field. But yeah, Robert Greene is probably my favorite author.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. I studied Gary Vee. I don't know if you heard of Ty Lopez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
back in the day when he was making them hour long, hour and a half long.
They were worth it though. They were
Yeah,
worth it every
I like
minute.
him. Straight to the point.
Man. All right,
What do
yeah.
you read?
Me, I I listen more of anything now. I started listening to a lot of stuff now, especially when I'm driving. Of course, Gary Vee, you have Patrick Bet David with Valuetainment,
Okay.
um, Robert Greene, of course, Dale
Mhm.
Carnegie with Think and Grow Rich, Rich
Okay,
Dad
got that
Poor
one.
Dad, Robert Kiyosaki and the Cash Quadrant. Um,
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
yeah, these are books. I actually own the books, but then
Yeah.
I would only be able to read while I'm laying down at night. Then this amazing thing came out called Audible, and I could just turn it on and listen to it all day. Turn the
Yeah,
TV
exactly.
off, turn the music off. Just consume knowledge while I work.
Hmm. Yeah,
I love it.
it can't beat it.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
so yeah, we study some of the same kind of type of material.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this conversation though.
Oh
So,
yeah, me too.
uh, so I can imagine. Well, all right. Let me rephrase this question. When you were talking about when you first started, and you were able to use the gym space for free,
Hmm.
and you
Yeah.
were being able to do your experiments. Uh,
Yep.
were you able to convert any of them into long-time customers because of the value that you were able to provide them up front, even when you weren't able to charge them?
Yeah, a couple, but I mean, a couple, yeah, but I wouldn't charge them. No, I don't want to say that, but yeah, a couple. But at that time, I wasn't even looking for that. This was like it was an opportunity. It's like when do you get from 12 years old to 40 years old, a opportunity to train, like sometimes it's up to 20 people, opportunity to train that many people to do what you want with no risk of losing anything, you know? Because in UPS, I'm not trying stuff. Because if it doesn't work or I get too many people hurt, I'm fired, right? So when do you get that opportunity where you can try different stuff? And a lot of people, like I said, everybody got better. People got to their goal weights. People were doing, I mean, people were weight loss, people were gaining muscle, people were happy. That's why they kept coming. Like, if you're not paying and you're volunteering to come to stuff and keep coming, something's going well, right?
Yes.
So it's like I wasn't looking at it as, okay, how many clients can I turn? I'm looking at it as, okay, when I start turning clients, when I start getting clients, when I get into different populations, I know what works now because I've seen it at I've seen it at different ages. I've seen it at different physical abilities. So I didn't look at it from that perspective, I guess. It was an investment more of like, it was more of an educational investment than financial.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, I just love the fact I was bringing it up because I love the fact that you brought value up front to people. You know what I mean? Which is something
Mhm.
else a lot of entrepreneurs um don't really think about. You know what I mean? Like people get
Mhm.
mad at me all the time because I'll put up free ebooks or I'll give away like some of my best information on a free podcast or a free Facebook Live, and people are like, you should be charging for that. I'm like, if you if they can get all of this for free for me, imagine what they're expecting if they actually paid. If that makes sense.
I agree. And at the same time, everybody can't pay. Everybody's not gonna pay. So you'll reach more people by giving value away from free. Your name gets passed around more. So that person might not pay, but they might recommend you to somebody else will.
Yes, which goes into branding, which is
Yeah,
the next thing
exactly.
that I was going to talk about, but you already beat me to it. So that's what I'm talking about. But everybody see your shirt, man. Everyone
Oh
see.
yeah. Let me back up. This is the Grays Academy shirt. Got a few of them, different colors. I've really been printing them and selling them, like I said. There's a bunch. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Like I've been learning. I was told some stuff that I should do in 2017 that I rejected because I was young and just wasn't thinking big enough. And now I'm starting to do now, wishing I would have did it back then. You know. So like I said, I'm learning, still learning.
Better now than later, man. Better now than
Exactly.
later. And you're still a student of it just as I am, but you still, pushing
Yep.
forward every day. I love it.
Oh yeah. Trying
Uh,
to.
hey man, yeah. Just
I had to.
so where you based out of as of now?
Oh, I train. So I'm in Tacoma. I train out of Revolution Fitness. It's owned by Sean Peterson. I pay rent to use the space. So that's where I train out of. I still use the gym. And then when I'm doing like athletes come to the gym and we also train at the field or the track. So that's just wherever it's convenient.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you do like group and one-on-one count
Yep.
nice.
Group in one-on-one. And then one thing that people know me from is health tips. I do a health tip a day. So just basic health tips, general nutrition, fitness tips. I do that on Facebook. I started doing that, and that also helped me. And those are free tips. It's like I think I've been doing that for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
It's just value. It's just simple
Value,
value
yeah,
that you're giving to people when they're like, huh, let me check him out tomorrow too, since he's doing these every day. And
yeah,
easy, man. Oh man, I love it. I love it, man.
yeah. So yeah, just trying to give, and then obviously I want to help. My main thing with the health tips was, it's a sense couple sentences. They're saying like we have just because of social media, whatever the cause, our attention spans are shorter. So if I write a couple sentences, probably really, really practical, here's your tip, you can do it. I wanted to help Black people because we're probably one of the most unhealthy, racial groups, ethnic groups, whatever you want to call it, in America today. So how can I reach them? How can I reach the majority of Black people? Simple health tips. Boom. It's sentence is two sentences. It's not too long. You can't say, "Oh, that's too much. I don't want to read it." Say none of that. Just trying to eliminate the excuse.
All of
I'm
them.
giving it to you. Free information. Take what you want from it. So that was my motivation behind the health tips.
Huh. All right. So also while you're working on like physical, do you help them out with, since you went through a lot of developmental training yourself,
Mhm.
like, is that something that you also help them out with? Because I imagine that it's not, hey, get in the gym, do 30 push-ups, that's it. I imagine that there's some kind of a mental training that goes with it too, because if they could do it on their own mentally, then they would have just did it in their living room.
Well, I guess then I'll become more of an accountability partner. Well, I will be the expert in that field, a professional in the field, but an accountability partner. Because some people get that. Like me, I don't, because that's what I like doing. I like working out. I like, that's what I like. Everybody doesn't like it, so they need another person to help them with that.
Gotcha.
So mentally, I give them some tips or whatever, but am I going to get going as depth as the sports psychologist or as a psychologist? No. I stay in my realm. I stay in my realm, But I mean, I can offer the basics, the foundation. I can offer that. Anything else, it's like, there's other people who specialize in that you can go to. It's not me though.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, that's also something that we entrepreneurs have a problem with as well, staying in their lane. It's a simple lesson, but when
You
you
have
try
to.
to
You have to.
right. No, fair enough. So where can our audience find you? Where can we find you on social media, online? Where can we find you?
All right, so social media, Gray's Academy on Instagram, Joshua Gray or Gray's Academy on Facebook. And then my website is graysacademy.net.
Perfect. Perfect.
And I'll
So
release blogs on there, written blogs on there. I'll put exercise videos, I'll talk or post the health tips on Facebook.
nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. I love how active you are on social media. I love how active you are digitally as well. That's a great thing. That's something I try to push to a lot of my clients. Be active out there. You're doing something that a lot of people don't do that really gets results, i.e. blogs. People think blogs are dead, but they're not.
And it's funny you mentioned it. Social media, I don't like social media. Like I'm doing it only because, and I haven't been asked, like I'm on my health tips, I've been consistent, but with videos and all that, since the new year started, I actually have a plan. Like I'm gonna post, say a blog on this day. I'm gonna talk on this day. I'm gonna post an exercise video on this day. And I had to do that because it's like I don't want it. I was just doing random stuff and wasn't getting the results I wanted. So I had to make a plan. But I'm not a social media person. Like that's what I struggle with, the consistency and putting stuff out. So that's one of my big struggles. And then with the blogs, just not seeing. I guess you're gonna have the delayed gratification because I will post some and then stop for a few months, and post and stop. And now I post 2 a week, and I'm gonna continue that. And if it grows, I mean, when it grows, then I might post more.
I promise you it
So
will.
it's just
I
yeah.
promise
So
you
it's
it
just
will.
that's something that other people need to hear it because it's something I need to hear. That's something I really struggle with, was just the social media, consistently posting, being like, okay, I'm at my workout around people. Maybe I should record some of this because it's not something I really think about.
Mhm.
That's been one of my struggles.
No, 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 no. Honestly, you got it. Like, I mean, you already identified it, and that's it. That's actually the answer right there. Just just that consistency and you recording recording some of the results and recording some of the actions that you guys are doing in the gym.
Mhm.
There's no better posting that you can do. That's your goal right there.
Okay.
That's gonna kill it. Like, because now people feel like they're there. I want to do that. Like, where are they at? I'm going to that gym. I'm on my way there right now.
Yeah, very makes sense.
No, that's that's gold right there. And that consistency, delayed gratification. I mean, delayed gratification is the enemy of a lot of people right now. I mean, we
All of
live
us
in
in
the
some
world.
area.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we live in the world where I mean, you remember when we were younger, we watching our favorite TV show. If you missed that 30-minute show, you're not gonna see
Missed
that
it.
show again. That's it. Now we
Missed it.
live in a world where you could point a controller or get on the phone and pick whatever episode that you want to watch. When you want to watch it, pause it, go cook dinner, come back, unpause it, continue to watch it. Oh, by the way, there's no commercials either.
Remember my mom setting the video recorder, with the VHS, right? To
Yeah.
record a show or a movie or something. It's like now you don't have to do that. You miss it, yeah. Somebody streamed it.
Yep.
It's just crazy times. It's just different.
It's yeah. So
It's
that's
different.
why, people don't get results right then and there. They're like, I'm done. I'm not doing it again.
You see that a lot in fitness.
Mm.
It's like, okay, so just for example, somebody gains, it takes them 3 years, they gain 40 pounds, right? They work out. Like, man, I worked out for a month straight. I should have lost half of that. It's like, well, you didn't gain that in a month,
Mm. Good
right?
point.
It's like you didn't gain it in a month. You're not going to lose it in a month.
Good point.
It's gonna take, almost just as long to get back to where you were. Now, if you're really highly disciplined, which most of them are not, that's why they got to that point, then you can get there soon. But for most people, it's gonna take almost just as long
Hmm.
of consistent effort, not 1 month on, 3 months off.
Yeah. No, you're
So we
right.
hear that a lot. Yeah.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. I mean, hey, it did not take 1 month for you to get to this way. Why do you think it's going away in 1 month?
Exactly. But most people do. They think, okay, man, I did this for a month. I stayed consistent. I haven't did it before, so I should be where I want to be. And it's like, what? Like, you don't work for your job for a month and ask for a raise. I mean, you feel me? It's crazy how people think about fitness and nutrition because the job didn't work that way. High school's 4 years, middle school's 3 years, elementary school's 6 years, college is 4 plus, right? So why do you think fitness is gonna be a month or
There's no
6 months?
logic.
There's no logic to
There's
that.
no logic to
That's how
that. I mean, when you put it
that's how
like that,
most people
there's
think
no
though.
logic.
There's none, but that's how most people think. And I think that's why most people don't hit their fitness goals, is because they come into it unrealistically. It's like come into it like you would come at your job, or like you would come at anything else that you practice for that you good at. Because you didn't get good in a month.
Huh. Wow. That's actually something for me right there. I need to take that to heart. I actually am taking that to heart. That's something I really need to think about in a lot of aspects. Like,
Yeah, man.
no, seriously. No, so we're about out of time today, Josh.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Like this has been one of my favorite episodes right here, and just a pleasure to sit and talk with you. I learned a lot from this episode personally, so I know the audience got probably equally or as much value as I've gotten. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on the show. I'm
Yeah,
glad for the opportunity.
definitely. Remind me to tell Threat thank you as well. So we'll have
Yeah.
we'll have his links and his web address and ways you could contact him in the description. And net builders, thank you again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And until next time, keep building your network.